English language instructor at Yachay Tech in Ecuador. With extensive experience teaching English as a foreign language, Hamilton is passionate about integrating innovative teaching methods to enhance student learning. He has conducted research on flipped learning and its impact on student engagement. As the advisor of the English Conversation Club and coordinator of various outreach programs, Hamilton strives to make language learning interactive and accessible to different audiences. And finally, let's give a warm welcome to Kinga, to Kinga Tomczyk. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced it. Who graduated in Poland from the Pedagogical University, earning a master's in arts in philosophy and education in 2007. And from the, oh my God, Jagiellonian University, I'm so sorry, where she received a Master of Arts in Social Anthropology and Ethnology in 2008. In April 2018, she completed her SALSA certification through EF-Quito in Ecuador. She is currently studying a postgraduate diploma in migration, development, and human rights at Tlaxo, Ecuador. She speaks Polish, which is her native language, English in a C2 level, and also Spanish as a C2 level. She has been teaching English since 2013. Before arriving to Ecuador, she worked with a Scottish NGO providing support for people with disabilities. She was also involved with an adult education and literacy project there, and she was an active member of the Nicaragua Learning Exchange Group in Edinburgh, which was focused on sharing educational and social experiences between Nicaragua and Scotland. Later on, she worked with indigenous communities in Potosí, Bolivia. Her teaching experience includes working with young learners, teenagers, and adults. She has taught general English and English for specific purposes to groups and in one-on-one classes at all levels, from A1 to C1, C2. Her research interests are investigating the role of cultural competence in language learning, how technology affects learning, and how flipped learning influences the students' skills and learning experiences. She is currently involved in a research project entitled Students' Perceptions on Flipped versus Traditional Grammar Learning in an English Foreign Language University Setting in Ecuador. So as you can see, we have super prepared professionals here, which will help us with their super knowledge. So let's give them a round of applause and a warm welcome. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you, Daniel, for your kind words.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thanks, Katie. So welcome, Paola, Hamilton, and Kinga. The webinar is all yours. So welcome, teachers.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, loud and clear. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, good evening, everyone. We are happy to be here today. Kinga, Paola, and I are the three of us work at Yachay Tech University at the Yachay Tech Language Center. And today we are going to share what we've learned from this this model called the Flip Classroom that we have implemented in our own classes. And we're going to share with you the experiences that we've had with this innovative methodology. And we're happy to be here and share this with you. I think there's a lot of potential, and there is also a great opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about this. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Let's see. Can you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Not yet?
No. Yes.
Now, yes.
Now, yes. Okay, good. And so the topic of this presentation is enhancing EFL learning with the flipped classroom approach. And it's prepared by, oops, can you see my screen? Something
Yep.
happened.
I don't
No.
know.
No. No, it's black.
It's black.
Loading.
Yeah, it's
It's loading.
loading.
It's loading, I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's PowerPoint on the online website of the Microsoft 365. So it's gonna take a little bit to load, but it's working now, I think. Can you
Yeah,
see the
yeah,
yeah?
we can see it. Yep.
Okay. So as I said before, the topic is enhancing the EFL learning with flipped classroom approach. Presentation prepared by Paola, Kinga, and I. And before we start, I'd like to ask you a question. The question says, what comes to your mind when you hear the words flipped classroom? And what I'm going to do is to share my other PowerPoint where I'm going to ask you to answer the question through a word cloud. So you're going to type the answers in this link. Can you see the QR code?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So please, can you scan the QR code and answer the question that says, what comes to your mind when you hear the words flipped classroom? I'm going to try to send the link also as a message. I can find the message button. There it is. Yeah. That is the QR code. I'm sorry, the link. And that is in the chat. The question is, what comes to your mind when you hear the words flipped classroom? So yeah, I see that some people are answering. Yeah, a lot of people are answering the questions. That's nice. Let's see what the results are in a few seconds.
Good question. Good question. That lecture.
Okay, I think we only have 10 more seconds and then we can see all the results. I am reading as you're answering. Thanks for your participation. This is really insightful for me and also for my colleagues. Thanks a lot. Can you see the results? Can you see them on the other screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. So we have here some answers. Some said active learning as the most common response. There is collaboration, something that is inverted. Yeah. Some people have the idea of flip means inversion. Reverse learning dynamics. Yeah, that's a rough understanding of it. Students learn outside the class. I think the word was class. Yes. New form to learn. New or innovative. Inverted active students. Then the class is given. Yes. Because first is the content and then the class, no? Changing roles. The roles of the class and the roles of home are inverted. Participating in class. Enjoy. Well, I like the sound of that. Knowledge is prepared first. Knowledge is prepared first. That's an interesting point of view. I haven't I haven't thought of that, but yes, it makes total sense. That's good. I think in motivational class, it's question mark. It's a question. I think in motivational class. To invert roles, makes total sense. Flip means not conventional. I think from a broad perspective, it can mean non-conventional, or it can imply something unconventional, right? Active learning, absolutely. It is a methodology to teach, yes. Inverted classes, yes. Change the teaching process. Okay. Let me stop sharing. Thanks a lot for your answers. I think they're really, as I said, very insightful answers. And yeah, everything I think, or most of it, is actually connected to the topic that we're doing today. So let me go back to my presentation again. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. This presentation has 3 stages. The first one is what is flipped and how does it work. I am going to talk about that. Then my peer here, Kinga, she will be talking about what we have learned from flipping based on research that we have conducted in our classes. We conducted a research project and it's almost published now, finally. And she's gonna share with us what we have learned from those, not only from the research itself, but also from the implementation, what we learn as teachers. And finally, Paola will be talking about the implications that the flipped approach has in the EFL setting, because we implemented it here in Ecuador. And she's going to talk about the challenges and the benefits of the flipped model in our EFL context. I like to start the presentation with a quote by Einstein. It says that doing the same thing over and over again and expect different results is crazy. And it makes total sense. I really like this quote because in order to innovate, we have to try new things or different things so that we obtain different results. And when we talk about flipped, this is an example of some innovation that can happen in the classroom. In fact, everything has changed over time. If we take a look at the gadgets that we use right now, are a lot different from the gadgets that we used to use in the past. And even the most simple ones like our cell phones, everything has been changing over time according to, or in order to meet the needs of the user. And unfortunately, in the classroom, we still have this student center approach is fairly common still in many subjects, not only in English. in this model of teaching, we do it, or some people do it because this is the way we have learned, right? And so we replicate what we learn from our teachers and how they did it. However, it doesn't have to be like that. And the non-flipped approach poses a different, I'm sorry, the flip approach poses a different way of doing something. In a traditional or in a non-flipped class, or a traditional class, first, the teacher explains the topic or what students should learn in class, and then students go home and they do the homework. This is a timeline of a traditional or a non-flipped. I want to call it non-flipped because traditional implies so many other things. But in a non-flipped model, this is the timeline, right? Teacher first explains, and then students go home, and then they do the homework. In the flipped model, this order varies and is totally inverted, totally flipped. So at home, first, students, through, in this case, video tutorials, normally, they watch the instruction of the teacher, the explanation of the teacher, and in class they do what normally is done and homework. And this inversion it looks very simple because you only invert the roles, but in reality, when you implement it, there is some other challenges and some other things that um, a teacher needs to consider before implementing it. And we're going to be talking about these challenges and benefits also. The founding fathers of the flipped approach as we know it now in our modern times are Sams and Bergman. These were two chemistry teachers in the United States who decided to record their chemistry lessons for the students who couldn't attend the lessons because they were highly involved in sports. So these students missed a lot of classes and they didn't know how to help them catch up with the content of the lessons. So they decided to record their videos, record their lessons as videos so that they share with them and the students can finally catch up. And they defined the flip model as simple as this: what is traditionally done in class is now done at home, and what is traditionally done at homework is now completed in class. And they realized that this has a tremendous potential, so they decided to make it more massive and more open for other students and to implement it in their classes. And the results are obviously mostly positive. And I say mostly because we also in our study, the results were mostly uh, positively perceived by students. How does this model work? Well, after after we implemented it, there is basically 3 steps. First, you need, as a teacher, to choose or create material or videos. Then you share with students. And finally, in class, you need to sort of restructure the activities that you do in class. So step number 1 and step number 2 are mere logistic steps, but they can be extremely time consuming. They're not difficult. They're actually, an easy step, but they have some other challenges because when you create, for example, your own videos, it takes a lot of time and it's a lot of effort. The step number 3, on the other hand, is more of what you do actually in class. And we're gonna explore what we did in class in this presentation, okay? So let's go over step number 1, choose or create material or videos. In this step, it is not very difficult, especially when you only choose the videos that are already made. The biggest website to do this is obviously YouTube. There is also videos in platforms like TED Talks, and there is now TED Ed. TED Ed also, I'm gonna type it here in the chat box. TED Ed is TED Talks for Education. TED Ed creates now content or videos that are highly educational, and there is also some kind of assessment within the TED. And TED Talks are normally academic talks, but they also have now created content for teachers, so you can use it also in your classrooms. And finally, the Khan Academy. The Khan Academy is an educational platform where teachers create video tutorials of complicated subjects like calculus, math, algebra, chemistry, physics, biology. And now there's also English, but it's named language arts. And in these TED Talks, in these kind of academy videos, they're very straightforward and they're very clear. They are super comprehensive. I really like them. So these are the three ways you can choose videos. You can also create your own videos as a teacher. This is a very interesting thing that we had to do when we were working. Sorry, that we learned how to do in the past. One way to create videos is to video record yourself explaining something, like most of the influencers do it now. They record themselves traveling or doing entertaining things. You can also do it for educational purposes. Another thing would be to use some kind of app. There is an app for tablets called Explain Everything, and it's in iPads and also in some tablets. And you can also record your videos on the way that we are doing it right now. Like this presentation is being recorded like a webinar. And this model of recording is called screencasting. Here we have a screenshot of one of the videos. And here we have one video that I uploaded in my YouTube channel. It says how to use do and das in yes, no questions. This video I created myself with this screencasting format. There is a lot of software now to do that. And it's not super difficult, but it's also a learning curve. You kind of had to practice and try and error, try and error. So those are ways to create videos. If you record your own video in a whiteboard, like the picture that is on the screen right now, you need materials for that. You need a camera or a good cell phone with a good camera, a tripod, microphone. Microphones are important. You need to actually put, I don't know if you've seen it, YouTubers or people who create content in social media. When they have a microphone close to them, it's a lot easier to hear. It's much more neat. You also need good lighting and some kind of edition software as well as subtitle software. This is a really good way to create a video, but it takes time to create a video of you explaining something because when you are explaining, people tend to make mistakes. It's kind of like acting, and then you have to edit what you did. The other format would be screencasting. This is much easier and cheaper because you only need your computer, some kind of software for screencasting. You might need a headset and a mic with a microphone and some kind of edition and subtitle software. As you can see here, I have a screenshot of a video that we created for a university. Here I am explaining the conditional to, and for that we use the screencasting format of recording. That's probably the easiest. There's tutorial apps for iPads and tablets, as I said before. You need obviously some kind of video tutorial app. Again, some kind of edition software and subtitle software. This is a little bit more difficult because these apps are usually the free version is pretty basic, and then the premium version you need to pay. So they're not very appealing for teachers because we want to save some money. Choosing versus creating, there is advantages and disadvantages. there is challenges, and also things that make them easier. One of them is that if you choose a video, there is plenty of online materials. There are a lot of videos in YouTube. So now you have a lot of content to choose from. You can be very selective. Also, they are already made, meaning you have to do nothing to them. It's just there, right? It's like a library, completely free and available for teachers and students. A lot of the videos are good quality. These are people who have spent a lot of time working on these things. Teacher YouTubers who make an income by creating content for learning, right? And most of them, if not all of them, especially YouTube, are free. There is other platforms like Vimeo. I think you gotta pay to use those videos, but at least in YouTube they are free. Um, there is always the advertisement issue, but it's for me. I think at least it is mostly free. What are the disadvantages choosing videos that are already made? Is that sometimes the content is not what you really need or what your students need. Sometimes the content is um, too difficult for them, and they don't either have the level for that, or sometimes it's too easy, or sometimes the videos have sections that you don't want them to watch because that's not something that you want to cover in class. So the level or the content doesn't meet the students' needs. And this is something that we also discovered from our research is that some videos are too long, like 15-minute video is not appealing for any student, or they are too short. But in the majority of the cases, the video tutorials about, especially about grammar, are very extensive. So those are the advantages and disadvantages of choosing. And now, when you create your own videos, one of the advantages is that you can make a video that is specific for your students. You can put there exactly what your students should learn. No more, no less, because you know your students, right? And so it gives you a lot of control of the video, not only in the length, but also in the content, the quality, and other features that videos have. The disadvantage is that creating your own video is extremely time consuming. In our experience, when we created tutorial videos for our students, it took us almost 4 hours to create just one video. And that's a lot of time. And teachers, we don't have a lot of time, right? So it's much easier, or it was much easier to select videos that were already made. You also need some kind of equipment to record the video. And there is a learning curve, like anything else, anything new, as you implement it, it's trial and error. You need to learn how to create the videos and then edit the videos and then share the videos. So those are, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So those are the advantages and disadvantages of choosing versus creating your own videos. In this presentation, we mostly talk about videos because that is the number one, or yeah, number one content to share with our students. Videos, especially tutorial videos about grammar or vocabulary or pronunciation, are very helpful because in a video you can see somebody explaining something just like a teacher does in class. This is why we flipped using videos, okay? So now I have a question for you. Would you rather create your videos or select your own videos? Let me stop sharing, and I'm going to share my other PowerPoint to do the poll. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Just give me a second, please. Yeah. So it says, would you rather create or select videos for your students to watch before class? Option A is select videos already made, for example, from YouTube. Or option B is to create your own videos. What would you choose? I am going to share with you right now the QR code, and I am going to share the link in the chat box. Chat box, sorry. Is class point. Yeah. Oh, we already have an answer from Janet. She says, I would rather prefer to look for the one that is appropriate for the students. Okay. So maybe choosing a video that is already made. Please, let's scan the QR code or click on the link that I send you and start answering. Yeah. Can you see the QR code?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Collecting responses now. For the people who are not answering, this is the QR code and the link is in the chat box. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We only have 10 more seconds to finish the voting, and then we're gonna close the submissions. Okay. Yeah. So the majority of you apparently prefer to choose the videos that are already made, and only a few of you, actually 20%, um, prefer to create your own videos. This is an interesting finding. We could even do research about this because we haven't analyzed the perceptions of the teachers. In our research, we only did research of how students perceive the flipped learning. And yes, the majority of them really enjoyed the model. However, only a few were not very happy with that. Um, and in this case, with you, we can see that um, it's much easier to choose the videos, or you select or you choose to select videos that are already made. And this makes total sense, because as teachers, we have one of our disadvantages is that we don't have a lot of time to work on this, and we rather focus on what's really important instead of creating audiovisual content that takes a lot of time. So let me go back to my presentation again. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So step number 2, as part of the flipping model, is to share the videos or the material that we already have for our students. Whether you create your own videos or whether you selected the videos, step number 2 is to share with them. It's not very difficult right now with social media, especially with WhatsApp or Telegram, just to share the links, especially if you uploaded them on YouTube. Or you can use your prefer or your school learning management system, LMS. In our case, we use Moodle, but there's other options like Google Classroom or Schoology. This step is very logistical. It's not super complicated. So we're gonna move to the next one, which is more like the core of flipping, which is what you're gonna do now in class. So you selected the videos, you share with your students, and now what's gonna happen in class? Well, we've discovered that in class, what we should do is to reorganize how we teach, basically restructure our lesson. And it's not because we want it. Theory says that, or they have found out that class becomes a place where now there is more active learning. If you implement flipped, Tucker says that it becomes a place to work through problems, advanced concepts, and engage in collaborative learning. Most important aspects of instruction can be rethought to best maximize the scarcest learning resource, which is time. And this is true. We don't have a whole lot of time in class. We always complain that if only I had more time, I could do this or I could cover this other topic. The thing about flipping is that if you flip your class and then the grammar explanation or any explanation is given to students before, you're going to end up having more time in class. In a normal class, in a non-flip class, we normally have 3 stages, which is activation, connection, and affirmation. Activation is the stage where the teacher activates prior knowledge through a warm-up activity, and then the connection is the clarification stage where the teacher explains the topic or introduces the topic and explains the topic. And then the affirmation is the stage where students use what they have learned or just have learned in class or practice what they have learned in class. And then in other, we have a 10%. Other is more like the procedural aspects of the class, which is taking attendance and other small things. As you can see, the connection and the affirmation stage are the biggest part of the lesson in a non-flip class. However, in a flip class, what we discovered was that we had more time to do the affirmation part, the part where students actually start to practice, start to use what they are learning in that day of class. And this is interesting because when you compare the two of them, you realize that this affirmation stage happened as a result of implementing flipped. Because when you implement flip, all the instruction or most of the instruction, in this case, the instruction of the grammar that we conducted, gave us more time for class to do activities where the students actually use the language. As a consequence, you kind of had to rethink what you're going to be doing in class. And this poses many interesting opportunities for you as a teacher. Think of all the times when you didn't have time to do something. Well, I bet that if you flip your classes, you are going to have that time to implement that thing that you couldn't implement before. Because for us, at least flipped is a synonym of more student engagement. Because if we have more time in class, we can implement those activities where students can actually or are forced to use the language. No, we can design activities that help us students use the language. In our case, in my case at least, I love doing activities where they have to mingle and like mix with everybody, right? And talk because language is for that, you know, to talk, to use. And so these mingling activities like find someone who, or speed dating, or other interview activities where they have to interact with other peers. I had more time. My peers also had more time to implement them in class. And I think this was highly positive because the class became the place where they actually use the language. Um, there's also other activities that were added to this, like debates, other projects in which there is collaboration, problem solving, and deepening knowledge. Deepening knowledge was basically answer specific and deeper questions they had about the topic. As a result, this is translated into more language production. In general, we were very happy about this. We are very happy about this because at the beginning it was a little challenging, but over the years now it's part of our daily teaching routine that students know the content before class through an instructional video, and in class we use the time to have them use the language. There is a quote by Harry one that says, "The person who does the work is the only one who learns." It's based on this book called The First Days of School, and I think it's it has a big meaning in students, because in a teacher-centered classroom, the teacher is doing the work, right? The teacher is explaining, and in language we don't do lecture-based kind of teaching. We do more student-centered kind of teaching. And I think with the flip model, this creates an environment to implement that, to have the students do the work because they're the ones who are gonna be learning. Have you seen those those memes that says expectation versus reality? Well, the expectation from flipped is that, yes, like you can see in the picture created by AI, you know, this group of students are all interacting with each other, and this is what flipped proposes or suggests. But this is not expectation versus reality, the opposite. This is expectation becoming reality. If you take a look at my class, one of my classes from last semester, all my students are interacting with each other. This is a find someone who activity in which they actually are using the grammar that they learn in the videos. And so it gives me that time, it gives them the opportunity to actually um, implement or use that grammar content or vocabulary content that they're supposed to use. And I think it's a lot more meaningful because, as I said before, based on the quote by Juan, the people who do the work are the people who actually learn. Having said that, I'm going to pass or have my peer here, Kinga, continue with the presentation because she is going to talk about what we can learn from flipping based on the results of our research that we conducted before, and that now it's very useful for us, for teachers, because it's highly informative, and we want to share that with you. So Kinga, please go ahead. Thank you very much. From my side, I think I'm done, but I'll be here, okay? Kinga?
All right, thank you, Jaime. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for having us. My name is Kinga Tomczyk, and I'm really glad to be here and be presenting this research information that I'm going to present to you in a moment. Just let me share my screen with you. All right, let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to talk to you about the things we can learn from flipping. Hopefully, yeah, there we go. And before I tell you all about those things, I wanted to ask you, would you consider using flipped learning in your classroom? After all that Hamilton just explained, after all the information that you received right now about flipped learning and applying flipped learning in your classroom, would you consider using it in your classroom, and why? Why yes or why not? Can you please answer that in the chat? Write your answer in the chat here on Zoom, please. Tell us, would you consider using flipped learning in your classroom, and say why? It doesn't have to be like a very long sentence. You can say 3-4 words, just very shortly explaining why yes or why not. Okay, Heidi says yes, because my students would love to have more time to practice. Carmen also says yes, because you get the resources before and then you can discuss them in class. Janet also says yes. And Hamilton says yes as well. Janet says yes, I would, especially because I'll have more time for students to practice. Exactly. Okay. Jessica also says yes. Ellie, of course. It's like connect students before the class. Lourdes, yes. Due to it, it is active way of learning. Mercedes says yes. Anna says yes, students have more opportunities to practice. Lourdes adds that it's really interesting. Okay, all right. So in our case, we decided to do that, right? We decided to use flipped learning in our classrooms, and we decided to do some research about that. And so our research focused on exploring the perceptions of B1 level university students about their experiences learning grammar through flipped learning. And so the question that led our research was, what are students' perceptions of learning grammar through learning? And we supported that main question with gathering data and comparing the results with existing studies on the perceptions about flipped in Ecuador. And then we also decided to check how flipped learning affects the grammar learning outcomes of the students that participated in this research. For the research, we used specific methodology. It was action research within subjects approach. So that means that we made research with our own classes, right? With students from our own classes. For the first part of research, we applied a non-flipped grammar learning during the first half of the semester until midterm exam. And then in the second part of the semester, we had our students use flipped grammar learning. There were 69 participants, which were B1 level English students. At Yachay, it's level 4. That's the second part of B1 level. And those 69 students were divided into 5 classes and 3 teachers, all 3 teachers present today. And it lasted 1 semester. And the research instruments that we used were the results from grammar tests administered throughout the semester, which are part of B1 curriculum at the university. We also applied a survey at the end of the semester with the objective of collecting qualitative and quantitative information on the perceptions of the students about the use of flipped learning for grammar. And we organized semi-structured interviews. It means that there were some questions that we prepared in advance, but there was also space to ask other questions that were not prepared in advance as the conversation, as the interview developed, right? And we applied these interviews at the end of the semester to a group of students. There were, I think it was a 30% sample of the total. And that was done to collect more detailed qualitative information about their perceptions, about their feelings, about how they perceived all the flipped and non-flipped learning. So here is a timeline to show you more or less how it was organized. So the semester lasted 16 weeks. For the first 8 weeks, we applied non-flipped. So students were learning grammar in class. We were teaching grammar in class. And for the other 8 weeks, we flipped the grammar, and students were watching videos, grammar videos before classes. We, as I mentioned, we controlled that with grammar tests. During the first 8 weeks, there were 3 grammar tests. And then in the other 8 weeks, there were also 3 grammar tests. And when we applied flipped grammar learning, we also had implemented video quizzes, which were there to check if the students watched the videos, the grammar videos that we asked them to watch before every class that was going to include grammar. And we needed to check first if students are watching the videos, and also how much of the content they are understanding, right? And then we applied surveys. They were at the end of the semester, and the interviews also happened at the end of the semester. And so from our surveys, we had one of the questions was about better understanding. I mean, we asked some questions in the survey, and this, you can see one of them, and you can see the results here about grammar understanding. So most of the students said that watching the grammar videos helped them better understand the grammar. As you can see, 72%, more than 72% said that they agree, and 21% more than that said that they strongly agree that watching the videos before class helped them better understand the grammar. So this is one of our key findings. And it shows that in according to students, according to their perception, watching grammar videos before attending class significantly improves their understanding of grammatical concepts. So it's more than 93%, 94% of students agreed that having prior knowledge, that learning about the grammar rules, right, on the topic facilitates a better understanding of our teachers in class explanations, or it makes it easier to understand the grammar in general. Another important finding was about performance in class, right? So another question that we asked was about this, if the grammar tutorial videos were useful for students' performance in class. And again, most of them said that they agree. As you can see, it's almost 64% here. And 29 said that they strongly agree, right? So more than 91% of participants stated that the grammar videos were useful for their class performance. So we saw that being able to better understand the grammar topic, it allows students to increase their participation during the class, and it helps them go deeper into the topic, right? So thanks to that, thanks to watching grammar tutorial videos before class, students were able to participate more, to interact with other students, to answer the questions that maybe a teacher had, right? Because it gives them more confidence in doing the grammar exercise, in practicing the grammar, and participating in class. Both of these outcomes were supported by other research findings. Both grammar understanding, improved grammar understanding, and improved performance in class are shown not only by our study, but also other studies that implemented flipped. There was another important finding, which was about the duration of videos. And Hamilton already mentioned that that most of the students prefer videos that are 5 to 7 minutes long, right? So you can see that 37.7% responded that they prefer videos that are 3 to 4 minutes long, and almost 45% responded that they prefer 5 to 7 minutes, right? Some small amount of students went for 8 to 10 minutes. So I would say that 10-minute videos are like the maximum. Also, it's understandable in this day and age where TikTok videos are super short, all the reels on social media are very short. They grab the attention of students or people in general, and then they have to finish because that's it, right? So 3 to 4 minutes was one of the preferred lengths. 5 to 7 was kind of the best, and then a little bit, a small number of students liked the videos lasted up to 10 minutes. So from those surveys, and also from the questions that we open-ended questions that we made in surveys, we saw that the most recurrent response was that some grammar tutorial videos were very long. So in our case, in our research, we were not able to create our own videos for level 4, for B1. And so we chose videos from YouTube, right? And if you choose the videos, you can't you don't really have influence on how long they are, right? And some of those videos were short, but others were 10, 15 or more, 10, 15 minutes long or longer, right? So basically, students' perception was that some grammar tutorials videos were very long, and students prefer the videos that are 5 to 7 minutes long. Also, we don't have a slide for that, but additionally, 20% of students would prefer their teacher to make the tutorial videos, right? Because they are more focused on the specific topic and they are more aligned with the needs of the students. So this shows that although flipped learning model is mostly seen as positive, there are things that can be improved, that can be changed. And the next thing that we saw were the semi-structured interviews. And in the semi-structured interviews, we asked about the perceptions of students. And most of the students had a positive perception about this type of learning, about flipped, because it lets them preview the content of the class. So when they were coming to class, they knew what was going to happen, right? So if you ask them to watch videos about present perfect, they knew that in class there will be practice about present perfect. And so that was able to, or that had an effect of increasing peer interaction in many different ways. The videos themselves, or having the fact that they had to watch them, created like another topic of conversation for the students among themselves, right? So they would come to class, and before the class starts, they would talk to each other. Oh, did you watch the videos? Did you understand that topic? Oh, there was something that I didn't understand. Did you see that? Can you tell me? Etc. etc. And then apart from that, they were able to interact during the activities, during class, because they already knew what was the learning content. They watched the videos and they saw or they learned the grammar rules, for example. So that translated to active classroom participation as well. And it improved their self-confidence, because knowing what's going to happen in class, what type of grammar topic we're going to work on that day, made them feel more confident. And all that improved the learning outcomes, right? Students achieved deeper understanding. They were able to go into the grammar topics deeper, and we were able to focus on practical knowledge. So they were able to apply the rules in practice, right? In all the activities that the teacher organized for them to practice. There was a chance to clarify doubts, which was very important, because when students when students watch the videos, there is no extra support there, right? So they can take notes, they can stop the video and play it again, they can use subtitles, but the teacher is not there. So then if they have any doubts or anything is confusing, they have to bring those doubts, those questions to the class and ask the teacher, right? So that's when the teacher can clarify any doubts they have from the time they were watching videos. And another learning outcome was that they had greater exposure to and interaction with learning material, right? So instead of spending those 40% that Hamilton showed you on one of his slides on explaining, teaching the grammar from scratch, we were able to address the specific doubts, specific questions, do more formalized practice quickly, and then focus on activities where they would interact with each other, speak, and use the grammar rules that they learned from the videos. And so in that way, the outcome that we saw in the semi-structured interviews was that some students still preferred non-flipped learning, right? Because flipping is not for everybody. There will always be people who want the teacher there to teach them, like to be there face-to-face, to teach them face-to-face all the grammar rules. And that's how it is, right? Not everything is for everybody. But it was a small amount of students who said that they prefer non-flipped classroom. Even smaller number of students responded that they would like to combine both, right? Have some non-flipped and some flipped during the semester, during the course. And then overwhelming majority said that in the future, in their future classes or future courses, they would like to continue learning with the flipped model. However, having said that, we saw that when we analyzed the test results and video quizzes results, and we compared the first half of the semester, the grades from the first half of the semester with the second half of the semester, there was not such a big difference between the grades as we expected, right? You can see each class out of 5 that were analyzed. The blue results are the results from the non-flipped grammar tests, so from the first half of the semester, and the orange ones are from the time that we applied flipped, right? There is a minimal increase in most of them. The only one, the last one, maintain the same result. So you can see that there is a small increase, and which is good. But we, when we were planning the research, we were hoping for a bigger difference, right? For a bigger result. And that can be due to many factors. So the effectiveness of flipping can be affected by other aspects, like the different levels of grammatical understanding within one level, right? You probably see in your classes every day that there are students who are very good and there are students who are quite weak, right? Their level of knowledge, their skills, their grammatical understanding is lower than the others, right? So because of that, or that can affect how effective flipping can be. Another thing is the quality and accessibility of pre-class materials, right? So if you create your own videos, then you know what quality they are, and you know that they go directly to the information, to the topics, to the aspects of the topic that you want your students to learn. But if you choose grammar videos like we did from YouTube, they may not always be exactly what your students need. Accessibility is another issue, or might be another issue. The videos in our case, or any other material that you want to use for flipping, needs to be engaging and well structured, right? So whatever they are using as pre-class content, which is flipped, needs to be interesting for them, and it needs to be well structured. Also, the effectiveness of flipping may be affected by teacher support and feedback. If we forget to ask our students if they watch the videos, if they have any questions or clarify any doubts, then students are just left to themselves, right? It's a student and the video, and that's all. So the teacher support is really important in the flipping, because the videos won't do all the job, right? You need to actually get in there and find out if your students understood the videos, if they understood the topic, the rules, the aspects of the grammar topic that, in our case, it was grammar topics, that they should, right? And another thing is student motivation. If students are not motivated, the flipping will not be effective, right? They will not watch the videos, they will not participate in class, and they will not learn. But that's generally true for language learning in total, right? If whether you flip or not, if they are not motivated, it's going to be really hard for them to learn. And so the outcomes that we saw for students were that students feel more prepared to participate in class. They improved comprehension of the grammar topics, and they understand the value of videos, but they were also critical about the length of the videos, right? For teachers, we saw that we could dedicate more time in class to language production. We could address specific students' needs, especially clarifying doubts about the grammar topics. We were able to cover all content assigned in the curriculum, which is not always possible if you have to teach grammar in class. And the students could experience more active learning, and we were able to upgrade students' language. We could dedicate time to doing that. And so, in our opinion, flipping holds a potential promise for improving grammar learning in EFL, because it promotes the autonomy of the learner, of the students. When they watch the videos on their own, they can decide, right? They can decide if they want to, when they want to watch the videos. If they want to watch the video once, or twice or more times than that. If they want to stop the video and take notes, if they want to rewind and go back because they didn't understand something, they want to use subtitles or not. So they have control over their learning pace. And the social dimension gets developed as well. So I already mentioned that having to watch videos kind of made them feel united, right? So they could talk to each other. Even those students who are introverts that didn't know anyone in the class or didn't have many friends in class were able to use that as a conversation starter, right? And by knowing what's going to happen grammar-wise in class, right? Arriving to class with basic understanding of the material, they could participate in more meaningful discussions, collaborative tasks, etc. And so, in conclusion of the research, most of the students had a positive perception of flipped for grammar learning. The fact that they could preview content helped them be more prepared, and they had better comprehension of grammar content. And there is a potential for improvement in grammar performance, right? So the recommendations that we came up with from this research is the suggestion that teachers, if possible, obviously, should design their instructional materials because there are positive aspects of flipping. If you design your own instructional materials, you can adjust, you can decide how long the videos will be and how complex they are, right? They will be to better meet the needs of our students. We also recommend that this topic should be researched more, especially in Ecuador, because there is not much research done about this here locally. And on the same note, there should be further study done to identify a correlation between grammar videos and students' performance. So that is all from me. Thank you very much. And Paola will continue and she will tell you about the EFL implications of flipping. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kinga. Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for still being there. If possible, Kinga, could you stop sharing your screen so I can start sharing my presentation, please? Thank you. Go. Okay, so give me just a couple of seconds to share my screen and obviously to let me know if you can see it. There, I guess that presentation mode would appear. There, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes, okay, perfect. Thank you for the confirmation.
Yes.
And I guess we're ready to continue with the last part of this interesting topic. I guess that you most be wanting to get into the last part. I know that it's a little bit late, but we are here to learn more, and this is what we're going to do right now. So I'm going to be discussing for this last part on what we really want to know in a nutshell, right? First of all, when thinking about implications of flipped learning, this is mainly what we educators want to know based on the research we've done and the different recommendations on how to implement flip that Hamilton stated in the first part, on how important implementing the flipped classroom model in EFL teaching is. And when thinking about this big word of implications, right? The first thing that needs to come to our mind is that it is essential to redesign the way we teach. This approach shifts the focus from the teacher to the students. And obviously, after you have heard, it allows for more student-centered activities and interactive learning. However, this also means that teachers must carefully plan how to use class time effectively, because I guess that's the main concern we have, right? And a key challenge is that not all content is suitable for flipping, as Kinga stated, and not all educators may find this method appropriate for their teaching style or students' needs. So we all are different and our students are different. So what can we learn from these outcomes? Well, actually, the results of our study highlight key classroom takeaways from using the flipped approach. So first of all, as you can see on my slide, flipping, as I just mentioned, does not mean that teachers stop teaching in class. That's not what flip means, right? Rather, our role evolves like into a facilitator, right? Who guides discussions and deepens understandings. Also, as you can read on the slide, teachers may feel uncertain, right, about how to structure a flip lesson effectively, which underscores the need for training and support and research on the topic. This matter is really important. And as recommended by Kinga, it underscores research on this new innovative methodology, right? Lastly, what I can say from these outcomes is that while flipped learning can enhance engagement, it requires also flexibility to adapt to different contexts and students' needs, and obviously learning styles, which is very important. So I guess it's fundamental to talk about the multiple benefits that we found on flipped learning. And first of all, I would say that flipped learning gives more time for language production, undoubtedly. One of the biggest advantages definitely of flipped is this, that it maximizes time for language production, right? So since students review, let's say, theoretical concepts before class, right? They can use class time to apply what they've learned. So this means, obviously, more opportunities for speaking activities, and collaborative discussions and real-world communication. What else? When we reduce, as teachers, this is what my experience have showed me, when we reduce time spending on passive instruction, flipped learning transforms the classroom into an interactive and dynamic environment, which is the expectation becoming reality that Hamilton showed us in the last slide, which was very interesting, right? Like, not like, oh, expectation versus reality. We're like, oh, really sad because our heart was broken. Not. Flip makes it become true. So that expectation definitely becomes reality, making our class into a dynamic environment. So this is a very important, I would say, cornerstone benefit from flipped. Another important one, definitely, as you can read on the second line, is student engagement, right? Students' engagement is a crucial factor in language acquisition, obviously. And the flipped classroom enhances it by making learning more interactive. This is something we have no doubt. When students come to class with prior knowledge, they feel more confident, participating in discussions and collaborative tasks. Even introverts, as Kinga stated, this is something that we could see in our classroom, which was very satisfying. And according to Enfield, this author, this increased engagement leads to better retention and more meaningful learning experience. And as the quote stated by Hamilton, the one who works is the one who learns. And this definitely happens when you have a flipped environment in your classroom. So this is another highlight from the benefits that flipped includes. Another one that I would say this is a strength of the flipped classroom, and it's the ability to support differentiated instruction, which is something that I love a lot. Because as we all know that we have different learning styles, and as teachers, different teaching styles. And another important factor that we need to cater for is special education needs that sometimes we just skip because we have no time to think about them. But when applying flipping and overviewing this power, let's say this superpower of flipping, I would definitely state that flipped classroom supports differentiated instruction and caters for all these special education needs. In a traditional setting, all students receive the same instruction at the same pace. However, with flipped learning, students can review materials at their own speed, allowing them to revisit difficult concepts or move ahead if they grasp the material quickly. So this ensures that all learners receive instruction tailored, that will be the word, tailored to their needs, which is something that I consider magnificent, right? Another important benefit from flipped, as you can see here, is that a flipped classroom fosters student-centered acquisition to the students, obviously, right? So instead of passively receiving information, students actively engage with the content before class and then apply it in practical activities in the classroom. So this approach encourages autonomy and critical thinking, and both which are essential skills in language learning, as we know, no? We wanna obviously take our students and upgrade our students to critical thinking, which is our main goal. And this is what Flip is doing when we have them involved in our classroom, right? So it's another great benefit we have. Another that I would say is something that research supports. And this is the effectiveness of flipped learning and improving student performance, as we have seen in the results, right? So here, Tolley and Scherer, these two researchers, is found that students in flipped classrooms achieved higher scores compared to those in traditional settings. So when having a control group, it is something that these two authors could state. So this improvement is attributed to the increased opportunities for practice, right? So to practice, for interaction, and also for immediate feedback from instructors. This is why we are not stopping on teaching, right? But we become facilitators, and we can, with this immediate reactions and active participation, give immediate feedback to our students, which is going to be more effective and on the time that they really need it, right? Because they can become with more exclusive
Paola, I think we lost you. Yeah, we lost Paola. Give us just a moment, please. There must be an internet issue. It's raining, so it might be due to that.
Yeah, no worries. Well, while Paola is is solving her issues, please don't forget to register your attendance. I will share the link once again. Please don't forget to fill the form, and don't forget to leave any questions that you have in the chat, so the teachers here can answer all your doubts.
Hi, good evening. I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
If I already registered myself, should I register again?
Did you register today?
Yes,
Yeah, so
already.
no, it's just once. Once
Okay,
per
thanks.
It looks like Paola had a blackout, but the power is just back in her house. So let's just give her a couple of minutes until she gets internet, okay?
Okay, let's just wait a little bit more, and don't forget to register your attendance. And if you have any questions, just type them in the chat.
Oh, she's back. Welcome back, Paola.
Yeah, blackout out of the sudden. But
You
it was
never
like,
know when
yeah, 2
electricity is
minutes
gonna
blackout. I was
disappear.
shocked. Thank you for still being there. Yeah, I was afraid it won't come, it won't come again, but here we are. Okay, so let me resume this really quickly. I guess that I was in the very last part on the benefit. Thank you for waiting. Okay, so upgrading knowledge. Yeah, that was the last one. I guess I started already with it, but I was telling you that this is something that the flipped classroom encourages, right? And this ongoing engagement helps reinforce knowledge retention and promotes obviously deeper understanding of the subject matter, right? In the case of our study, we were going on grammar flipped teaching, but this is obviously something that we could all meet in different other aspects, right? Now, yes, let me show you like in a summary how it goes. Really quick, let me change to the dot that I like, which I guess is this one. Yes, okay. So just to summarize on the benefits, to sum up, I would say that the flipped classroom model offers several advantages, right? Particularly, obviously, in language learning. For us, it allows for more class time dedicated to language production, ensuring, obviously, that the students actively practice their speaking, their writing skills, productive skills, right? Additionally, it fosters student engagement by encouraging them to arrive prepared and ready to participate in class, right? Another benefit I mentioned is differentiated instruction. For me, this is key. And we teachers can tailor in class activities to different proficiency levels, right? Depending on our students, obviously. And finally, as we could see, research has shown that flipped learning can improve student performance, making it a valuable pedagogical tool. So definitely, I guess that benefits surpass challenges in flipped classroom, but again, this is a matter that it's also important to be analyzed in order to have the whole picture, right? So when talking about challenges with the flipped model, the first of all, I would talk about, despite the benefits, right, is accessibility. Accessibility to internet, to technology, to connection. I know that this is a big challenge, especially in rural zones, or I would say, if not mistaken, few public institutions, right? But not all the students have reliable internet access, or as just happened to me, you know, reliability on sources like lights, no? Electricity. Yes, this is something that can affect to watch pre-class materials in the case of videos, right? In the case we're using technology as videos, and obviously internet as connection. This digital divide can create disparities, no, in learning opportunities, making it essential for educators to provide alternative ways for students to access content. We can think like really quick on preparing probably a manual with worksheets, right? Or probably sharing content by big posters or any other kind of materials or other platforms that can be downloaded and not needing internet, but on offline that could be used by students, right? So thinking of different other possibilities to access content. So this is one of the biggest challenges on flipped classrooms with technology and internet access, right? Another one, definitely, which I guess was the first one mentioned by Hamilton, is the time investment, right? Time investment required to implement a flipped classroom, as stated by Enfield, highlights that creating, for example, high quality videos and interactive materials can be time consuming for educators. Teachers must also carefully design in-class activities to ensure students effectively apply what they have learned, obviously, no? So that is our main purpose in the end. Another important challenge that I would talk about, producing engaging and informative videos is not always easy, right? So it's a big challenge. Teachers, we educators may struggle with video editing, for example. So probably making our own would be a nice option in order to avoid this, right? In order to keep content concise, and ensuring that the video captures the students' attention. Okay, another big challenge can be poorly designed videos that can lead to disengagement, right? So it will definitely, as Kinga said in one of the end conclusions, it would definitely reduce the effectiveness of the flipped approach. These are one of the many factors that go around it, right? Another big one, I guess that probably the success of the flipped classroom depends on the quality of the in-class activities. If these activities do not reinforce the pre-class material effectively, students may struggle to connect theoretical concepts with practical applications, right? So teachers must carefully design tasks that encourage interaction and deeper learning. That is our duty in class, because we are not teaching students directly the knowledge. So we need to take that time in order to tailor these activities, right? Another one, and last but not least, many educators and students are accustomed to the traditional lecture-based approach, where grammar explanations happen in class. So shifting to a flipped model requires breaking this mindset. Some students may resist taking responsibility for pre-class learning, while some teachers may feel uncomfortable, right? Relinquishing control over content delivery. So yeah, this is a very big challenge that we need to like break that traditional teaching paradigm, right? So yes, as I told you in the benefit sum up, I would say that they surpass challenges, but I would say that the flipped classroom presents several challenges that educators must address for a successful implementation, right? Limited internet access and lack of devices can create disparities in learning. So we require alternative solutions. That is something we need to have a plan B, right? Additionally, creating high quality videos and interactive material is something that is time consuming, but this ensures that these videos will engage students and not left them apart, right? So the effectiveness of the approach also depends on well-designed in-class activities, as I mentioned, that reinforce the pre-class learning, right? So lastly, I would say that both, right, we as teachers and students may struggle definitely with shifting the way from traditional teaching or let's say non-flip teaching methods, and students would definitely resist as teachers as well, but definitely this is something that we may think on future benefits surpassing challenges as well. So just to finalize, as recommendations, I would say that you need to start slow, right? Especially if you haven't done this in class, starting slow is the first step. For those that are new to flipped learning, it is advisable to start gradually, okay? Instead of flipping an entire course at once, teachers can begin with a few lessons, probably as we did with the skills, grammar first, then let's see vocab, so yeah, few lessons and assess their effectiveness in the group. This allows for smoother transitions and necessary adjustments, which is what we need to do. Pilot, yeah, this is very important. Conducting a small-scale pilot before full implementation helps identify potential challenges and areas for improvement. So we teachers can gather feedback from the students and refine their approach based on the responses, and then implement in a bigger portion or any other subjects or any other skills, right? Another one that I would say, like if it doesn't work, try to find out why. Yes, if the flipped classroom does not yield the expected results, we teachers should analyze why, no? Is the material too difficult? Are the videos too long? Are students engaging with the content before class? So identifying issues like that in early phases allows for effective solutions, right? You can make decisions on the spot and then decide what to change and what not, but we need to find why, no? Finally, and the biggest concern, I would say, in context as ours, like students right here in Ecuador, where students have limited access to technology, teachers should explore low-tech alternatives, right? Probably printed materials, audio recordings, or in-person explanations that can serve as substitutes for online videos, as in our case, right? So in this way, we can ensure that all the students benefit from the flipped approach, right? So just to sum up again on the recommendations, to successfully implement the flipped classroom, we educators should start gradually, okay? Flipping a few lessons first, to allow for smoother transitions and adjustment, right? We can conduct a small-scale pilot, so it can help us identify the challenges and refine a little bit the approach based, the feedback to students, the activities they like, right? And if the method does not produce the expected results, even so, right? We should analyze potential issues, no? Like we mentioned in our research, video length, the content complexity, okay? Or probably students' motivation and engagement, right? That can be a key factor in here. And obviously, implement necessary improvements. Additionally, if where you work is a low-tech environment, we need to think of alternative solutions, as I told you, printed materials, recordings, or even in-person explanations that can ensure that the benefits from the flipped learning model are there, right? So just to conclude, and due to time, obviously, I would say that the flipped classroom has significant potential. Obviously, in our case, to enhance EFL instruction. Flipped promotes student autonomy, increases engagement, and allows for more meaningful classroom interactions. However, its success, as we mentioned, depends on well-structured materials, teacher support, definitely, and the student's motivation. These are the three key factors involving flipped learning. So while challenges exist, they can be addressed through thoughtful implementation and adaptation, let's say, with proper planning. The flipped classroom can transform language learning in experiences, no? Making them more effective and engaging, right? So these are some of the references we have used for our research. And thank you very much for your attention and the time you devoted to this presentation.
Thank you so much for your presentation. It was amazing. I think we learned a lot. I don't know if any of the teachers here have any questions or comments about how to implement flipped classroom in their classrooms. You can use the chat or you can raise your hand so we can give you a space to talk. Oh, here, Jessica Alexandra says, I have a question. Is it possible to do it with university students?
Yes, actually, we researched it on university students. Yeah, we work on it at the university.
Any other questions, teachers?
Yes, I do have a question.
Okay.
Hello, good evening. Yeah, I was wondering about the thing of artificial intelligence. How much relevant do you think the use of flipped classroom in the future will be if students will have something like the AI assisting them? Probably, is that going to change this setting? Is it probably going to do mean that things are going to be different because they're going to have that? So is the flipped classroom going to change in any extension or in essence? I know that these are many questions in one. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I can answer that from a very like quick point of view. What I think is considering that we need pre-teach material in class at home. Sorry, I guess that probably AI, the way we know it so far, like for example, the use of ChatGPT or Gemini or any other artificial intelligences, will cater for the purpose of being that pre-teach material we need at home. So it's like, you know, that we can interact with ChatGPT, for example, speaking or typing and asking, for example, students may ask, it comes to my mind right now, that they may go home and ask ChatGPT about the topic that they will explore with the teacher the next day. And being ChatGPT or artificial intelligence in general, that pre-teaching material that we need for students at home. So we can make students use artificial intelligence in the way of a pre-teaching material instead of a way of cheating in order to be used, right? So that is the first idea that comes to my mind when we think about it. So I don't think it will shift the way this setting is being implemented, but on being another tool that can be used as an already made material for students to use at home.
Can I the question? Can I ask another question? Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
just let me
Go ahead.
chime in just for a second. I also think that it's just a matter of time for AI to be able to prepare teaching videos for flipped, right? So I think it's just a matter of time that the AI will be able to because right now it can generate text for you and it can generate images, right? It's just a matter of time when these two things will be put together and made in a video, right? And so you as a teacher will be able to ask ChatGPT or whatever future new AI that will be created to create an explanatory tutorial video about this specific topic for your students and send it to them and they will be able to watch it. And that might be the solution for one of the issues that we mentioned, which takes a lot of time, which is creating our own videos. And if you have another question, Luis,
I do have.
go for it.
Paola, what would you tell all these people, all these teachers who are afraid of because of they hear this thing about AI replacing us? What would you tell them? Because the way you describe, I mean, the way you answered before, it looks to me like you are in favor of using the AI. What is your position?
Well, yeah, me. I'll go for it. Yes. It's like I guess it's not a matter of setting an instance on like if we're in favor or we're against the use of AI in classroom. I think it's the way we address it to be used, right? Because we cannot control how students will use AI at home, but we can control the way we can make them use AI, as it is undoubtedly that we have to make it as part of our daily lives. So I guess that thinking on the main topic of our presentation, which is flipped, I guess as Kinga stated also, that it would be a great tool for our main concern, that it is time-consuming activities for educators, right? So telling that way that we are in favor of the use of AI, yes, if it may benefit the way we practice with the students, right? So that will be the answer for this. So probably if we address the use of AI in the way that it shows how it shows us in the case of flipped learning, on the way that it can prepare for material, tailored material for us, because we can specify, aspects of, I want this with these instructions, only these rules, with this level of English for these kind of students, and even cater for the purpose of educational needs. Definitely, it's something that we can take as an advantage rather than a disadvantage. So definitely in the way we manage to use it is the way we can make it a benefit or a drawback for our classroom and obviously the interaction with our students.
I would like to add that thinking whether we're for or against the use of AI will have to change and should be changing actually right now, because AI is there. It's not that we're going to stop our students from using it, right? There is no way for us to stop them from using it. But what we can do is we can create rules, right? In your school, in your institution, at your university, you and other teachers, English and other subject teachers, probably very soon will have to create a set of rules for students, like a reglamento, that explains how or sets boundaries on how, when students can use AI and what for, right? One of the issues that we are experiencing at the university is that students use GPT a lot and think that teachers will not realize that that's happening, right? And so in that situation, if you establish those rules and teach also students how to use AI tools, show them that ChatGPT or other AI is not a browser, that they make mistakes, and that learning is knowing that AI made a mistake, right? Being able to read or to see, analyze what AI produced for you and evaluate it and see what is correct and what is not. And in order to do that, you have to have the knowledge, right? To be able to see if ChatGPT made mistakes or not. So I think this is a really big conversation and a topic for a different debate probably. But yeah, there definitely needs to be implementation of rules from the educational institutions on the use of AI and education about AI for students.
Thank you.
I think I'm just gonna give you my 2 cents to this conversation. When Luis, I think you asked a really interesting question. When we implemented this, there was no AI yet launched, and so we never thought of that at the time. As time went by, this thing happened, and it changed everything, right? I think we need to conduct a new research, including the AI components in the fleet model and discover what their outcomes are, what the results are. Because what AI does, off the top of my head thinking, is that artificial intelligence, what it's doing is adding another element to the equation of learning. Okay. And this element, we never had control before. We don't have control now, sorry, because it never existed before. And so there is yet a lot to learn from the impact that it can have on the students and their learning that we don't know. And this is interesting because this means we can do a lot of research in this new topic and discover new things. Um, from what I've seen is that AI, in the case of flip learning, can help the students. For example, when they watch the videos, they can use an AI to get the text or the transcription of what the speaker says, and then put this text in ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT questions to help them understand better. For example, that's one way. And so it's really something helpful, or can be something helpful for students if they use it properly, as Kinga and Paola said, um, with the correct regulations and stuff. But ultimately, it's on the hands of the students because we can't control what they're doing at home, and therefore, it is more like their responsibility of what they're doing with AI or not. However, I do think that it's an interesting question that you ask, Luis. There should be more research to conduct in this topic because it's new. As I just sent in the chat, 2 weeks ago, there was a new chatbot called DeepSeek. And right now, it's killing ChatGPT in the sense that it's cheaper. And some people say that it's also better. And I don't have ChatGPT Premium, so I can't compare. But I heard that from the comments of the users, it is far more effective than ChatGPT compared to the price, because ChatGPT is more expensive, and this DeepSeek is new and is Chinese, and is taking over a lot of companies from that invested a lot of money on AI technology. Anyways, going a little bit off topic, but yeah, interesting question, Luis.
Right, and the problem is that artificial intelligence as such appeared in November, or at least the breakthrough was in November 2023, and it's changing rapidly. Now you mentioned DeepSeek. I heard there's another chatbot from Alibaba, I think it is. They have produced a new one. So these things are going fast. They're happening really fast. And by the time we can do any research, something else will be there. So that's my concern, and perhaps that should be everybody's concern. How we are going to be reacting to these things. Thank you for your answers. They were very nice. You were very nice. Thank you.
Thank you
Hello,
so
Carlos.
much, Luis, for asking those questions. Thanks, Pao, Kinga, and Hamilton. Thank you so much. Really amazing presentation. I think that everyone enjoyed your presentation, observing, and thanks for sharing your knowledge. Thanks for sharing with all of us about your discoverings. No, so I really appreciate the help of all the teachers being here. Please do not forget to register in the attendance and follow us. No, we will be posting at the end of this week the next webinar that we have at the end of this month. Heidi will be helping me with that. So we will have, I think the next webinar will be on Saturday. So thank you very much. We really appreciate for you to take these 2 hours of your time to be here, to learn, to share, to continue growing as professional, because that's the idea that we want, is like for us to learn every time new things and to improve. No, all your comments are always welcome, because that's part of the research that we do at Yachay. Remember that our university is a research university, so we are always in contact, doing research all the time and trying to improve the education as the way that all of us in the country we do. No, so thank you, English teachers. Thank you so much again, Pao, Hamilton, Kinga, Heidi. So let's see us in the next time. Next opportunity will be at the end of February. So thank you very much and have an amazing and wonderful night. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you
Take
very
care.
much.
Bye, everybody.
Take
Bye.
care.
Excellent
Bye.
night.
Thank you.